Bakugo's character development far surpasses what I expected he was getting. It was already crazy development for his character, for him to even kind of think about his motives to his ideals and what drove him as a character since he was very young. It was already incredible development he was getting. But this chapter goes even further than what I think any of us really believed was going on. Bakugo feels guilty. That right there, that one emotion that Bakugo feels. He feels guilty for being captured and being kind of the cause for why maybe All Might lost everything. Bakugo feeling those emotions, that is way better than just him thinking that everything he believed in was wrong. It goes even further with his character development, what he's getting. He actually is admitting he was weak. And that acceptance already, he's already kind of realized that is incredible. And we gotta think about the grand scheme of things here, okay? Bakugo feels guilty. It's survivor's guilt, and it's something that happens in real life. Like here, let's bring up a very perfect example. Let's say there's someone that goes off or goes out of their way to rescue someone that's in danger. Let's say there's a natural disaster, and maybe this entire family is going to die, or maybe just this kid is going to die, okay? And this person that's going out to rescue this kid, he goes out, rescues this kid, and then he gets the kid out of the water, out of a house or whatever, and then all of a sudden, the person that's trying to rescue him, he dies, or he loses his legs or something like that, but the boy is completely fine. And if the boy takes time to think about everything, the aftermath after he was saved, and thinks about what happened to the person that rescued him, for instance, he lost everything, he might feel guilty. The boy that was saved might feel guilty and be like, it's my fault. It's my fault for this man being like he is, why he has lost everything, or maybe why he died, or whatever. The person, the survivor would feel very guilty. It's something that happens in everyday life. It is. It's to where someone maybe sacrifices himself to save another, and the person that lives on feels very guilty about it because they felt like, holy shit, why would you do that for me? And Bakugo, he's in a point right now to where he feels guilty. He's like, I costed All Might everything. Me being captured costed this man his ability to fight at all. And I mean, if we really look at the bigger picture here, okay, All Might was already losing his powers. He was already losing his powers. He was already crippled to begin with thanks to the injury he had. But I mean, Bakugo just kind of sped it up a little bit. Like, Bakugo just sped up the process a tiny bit. Even if it wasn't that large, he slightly did. And he feels guilty about it. He realizes, like, holy shit, what I have done. Like, I got captured. I was weak. If I would have been able to do something, this wouldn't have happened. And what makes it even worse for him is that you gotta realize, Bakugo, he idolizes All Might very similar to how Izuku does. I mean, Todoroki, Bakugo, and Izuku, they all admire All Might. They really love All Might. They look up to him. And I mean, you gotta think about it like this. If you're someone that just, you know, really admires this idol, okay, and then all of a sudden you're finally getting towards that idol, you're getting there, be able to talk to him, just be around him, and you pull this idol off his fucking pedestal and onto the ground and break his legs, you're gonna feel fucking guilty. And that's kind of what's going on with Bakugo. He's like, I destroyed my own idol. I destroyed my own idol because I was too weak. And that alone, that development he's getting, going along with what he's already getting with last week's chapter, with him stating like everything I believed in, my motives and stuff, of how I felt like I was the strongest, this development that Bakugo's getting is just incredible. Very, very incredible. Horikoshi, I love what you're doing with Bakugo. It's some really good stuff I'm seeing going on here with his character, with how he feels guilty. And once again, I want to express that even if Bakugo, okay, even if Bakugo isn't really completely at fault for All Might's loss of powers, because All Might was already weakening to begin with, it's still the point Bakugo did kind of speed it up a tiny bit, even if it was 1%, and also he just feels guilty in the first place because everything that happened. I mean, it's Bakugo. He realizes how weak he was at that moment, and so this right here, it's understandable why Bakugo feels like he does. And with Izuku saying, I will fight you seriously towards the end, it's like, I understand how this man feels. I cannot do nothing about it. I cannot barge in and just say, like, oh, All Might was already injured, he was already losing his powers and stuff, it wouldn't have helped anyways. He can't make an excuse for Bakugo. It won't help. Even if Bakugo knew the truth, he knew about what really was going on with All Might, it wouldn't change how Bakugo felt at all. It would not change how he feels guilty. It just doesn't work like that. And so, Izuku decides, instead of just telling him what really happened, it still wouldn't have helped in the first place, even if he did, he decides, you know what? I will fight you, and we'll see. We'll see who really is. We'll learn this, clash of ideals, who is right or whatever, and if you're right. And, I mean, even Izuku states, this fight may be pointless. It might be completely stupid, but he's doing it for the sake of his friend, because right now, he has this guilt, and he needs answers. He needs these answers from Izuku, and it's kind of like, we may have been, like, at odds for a long time in our life, but at the very least, we both idolized All Might. And with me now being like I am, and you being like you now you are, it's just like, I need this. I need you to fight me, Izuku. I need to go up against the person that All Might recognized. So this right here, I love this development and how Izuku accepts that and is determined to fight him. And it's not just your traditional fight. It's not like two rivals going at each other, just wanting to beat the fucking shit out of each other. It's not like that. This fight that's going on here is way bigger than the actual fighting, the fist, and all that. It's way bigger than that. This stands for the character Bakugo, and also how Izuku is to Bakugo. This is a lot of development here, and it's not actually about the fight. It's about the real motive of it, why this is happening in the first place. So, Ortigoshi, can't wait to see what you do next with this upcoming match. Now, besides that, let's talk about the beginning of the chapter. So, Aizawa, he gets notified that apparently there is a fight, breaking out, and, it's not regulated or whatever, and, it shouldn't be happening in the first place. Aizawa, obviously, he goes off out of his way to try to stop this fight, and as he's walking along, he eventually encounters someone that raises their hands up, and it stops Aizawa. Aizawa's shocked, or he's just, surprised, and then it's the shaded figure. Like, this person's completely shaded out, which is very odd, because here's the first thing that many are going to speculate that person is. Most likely, everybody's going to think that person that walked in front of Aizawa is All Might, because if you remember last week's chapter, All Might was at the end. We know he had to be watching what was going on with Bakugo and Izuku. We know he had to be watching this, and there's nothing he could do in the first place. I mean, even if All Might wanted to stop the fight, he couldn't, because as we know, he's powerless now. So even if he wanted to jump in the middle of it, there's nothing he could do. So he just has to sit there and watch. But also, there's a bigger message here for Bakugo and Izuku. It's not about the fight, it's about what this fight means in the first place. And I think All Might kind of recognizes this and understands. And so many might think in this chapter when that person steps in front of Aizawa could be All Might, which I don't think it is. Because, I mean, why would Horikoshi go out of his way to make the figure shaded? Why would he shade the hand and all that like it was and try not to show the face? It's very suspicious to me. Because, I mean, when you really think about it right now, it's just like, if you show All Might at the end of last week's chapter, why would you go out of your way not to show his face and, have Aizawa look like that in the chapter? So, the only thing I could assume is, it's not All Might. It's probably not All Might. Now, it could be, but I just don't believe that person that stopped Aizawa was All Might. So, who could it be? Well, if I had to assume, I want to assume, since we do know there is a traitor, I think it's the traitor. I believe it's probably the traitor. There's a traitor amongst the teachers or students or whatever, and, I mean, there's a potential possibility that Bakugo and Izuku was being listened to, like someone was eavesdropping and listening to their entire convo, and that's not good, because we do know that, Izuku has, one for all, and I mean, Baku kind of knows, and if this person that's the traitor was eavesdropping, that's not good at all. That's information that you don't want kind of getting out. I mean, even All Might said you don't want to tell anyone, and so with this, that's not good. I don't think that's All Might. That's probably the traitor that's talking to Aizawa, and if so, oh shit, they probably know something now about, Izuku and Bakugo. So, yeah, I just don't think that is All Might. Now, besides all of that, though, I do say the chapter overall, it exceeded my expectations in terms of development for Bakugo and even Izuku. And, I mean, just seeing how this is just, coming front and center now in this arc, it's something we've been waiting for a very long time when it comes to Bakugo's character. I mean, he's been developing slowly throughout recent arcs and stuff. I mean, as I've talked about many times, he's calmed down, he's made friends and stuff, but now with this being popping up right now, it's something that makes sense. I mean, after all the stuff that happened in the last arc with, you know, All for One to All Might and stuff and Izuku, it makes sense that this would have a really big impact on Bakugo and why he's trying to change himself. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.